Hi, I'm Richard. We're at the Open Air Blues Festival in Brezoi. With me is Anthony Gomes, a Canadian living in the U.S. that bridges traditional blues with hard rock. How many days a year are you home in St. Louis, Missouri?
Maybe half or a little bit less.
180.
Yeah. So thank you for that quick math.
I love math.
Yeah.
How much is 2 plus 2?
It all depends how much whiskey you've had. But 15 years ago, I was home 2 days a month. But I didn't have a good work-life balance. And it's important to be home to recharge and to be focused, on your art.
And if you want to have a personal life.
You want to have a personal life. And I think if you don't, your art suffers. Because you get, speaking for myself, I was getting burnt out. If you do the same thing too many times, it's hard to have a perspective on it. I mean, if you are the greatest at making lasagna, but you eat it every day, it's going to be, man, I want something other than lasagna,
Ketchup.
Yeah, ketchup.
Why do you prefer the V guitar?
I like it because I think it straddles the line between blues and rock. And most people think of a V as a very heavy metal, hard rock guitar. Mm-hmm. But in fact, Albert King, one of the pioneers of modern day blues guitar playing, was an avid V player. So to me, I like that there's that aspect to it. It blurs the lines, which is something that we like to do. So from a visual standpoint, it does that. And tonally, I like it because it's pretty beefy sounding. So.
Mm-hmm. Is B.B. King like a father figure to you? And if you would have had the opportunity to meet him, what question would you have asked him?
Well, yes, he is and was a father figure to me. And I did have the pleasure of meeting B.B. King. When I was in college, I was writing my master's degree thesis on the racial evolution of blues music. And I guess as being a white guy from Canada, I was trying to figure out, how did I fit into the blues? Did I have a right to play it, And so I started to study how blues was exclusively an African-American art form, let's say in the late 50s, and then 10 years later it becomes integrated as far as musicians and audience, and I analyzed why that happened. And, B.B. King was such a driving force of making the blues accessible to all and being such a great ambassador. So aside from being my favorite artist, in college I was beginning to realize what the man behind the music, And so every Thursday night they had a jam night in Toronto at a blues bar called Chicago's. They'd give you a free beer for jamming. And if you were really hot, you'd get 2 free beers. Now when you're in college...
Sounds silly, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but when you're in college, you have no money,
great.
right? Like 2 free beers is like $1 million. So we got done playing, and this guy came up to me and he said, who's your favorite guitar player? And truthfully, I have a lot of people I admire equally, But I for whatever reason, I said, oh, that's easy, B.B. King. And he goes, I thought so. I'm his bus driver.
Wow.
So the next day, B.B. was about an hour away, and we had 4 front row tickets. But I wasn't sure if this guy was lying or not, because the place that we went to, some of the patrons there were very colorful or unreliable. Mm-hmm. But lo and behold, yes, he was indeed B.B.'s bus driver. And I wore my Sunday best. I wore dress pants and a shirt and a vest, and I made business cards. And it said, Anthony Gomes, professional blues guitarist. And I laugh at that now because no professional would ever call themselves a professional. but I was so excited to meet my hero. So, I gave him a card, and he spoke with me for 30 minutes, and he gave me such great advice. And throughout my career, he mentored us, and we opened up for him several times.
That's amazing.
And he did that for a lot of artists. And he really cared, man. He really did, and he knew that the next generation had to be taught and nurtured to go on, and
for the scene to grow.
Yeah, and he was such a humble man. I mean, that wasn't lost on me. At the time I met him, he was in his 60s, early 70s, and he was kicking everybody's butt. I'm like, if this guy, a 70-year-old guy, can kick everybody's butt, and he's this humble and this gracious, none of us have an excuse to be anything less than that. And it really set me on a path of honoring that point of view. And there's not a day that we play that I don't think of B.B. King. Like, he is always on the stage with us. And I have different bands that are sort of my compass. Like, my overall moral compass is
North
B.B. King.
Star.
My North Star. We write some silly songs like, Your Mama Wants to Do Me, or White Trash Princess, or The Whiskey Made Me Do It. Things that make people laugh. And, my litmus test for that is like Bon Scott and AC/DC or ZZ Top. I go, would they do that? And if it's like, no. Then
TV
it's sort of,
dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pearl necklace, legs, tush. Big Balls, AC/DC, whatever. So they've had silly songs. And, but overall, my overall compass is B.B. King. And he told me, he said, you have to play your blues. And he said, the blues are like the laws of the land. They have to be amended to the time we live. And, he would utter these profound nuggets of wisdom.
In few words.
In few words. And he was great at analogies. And I remember we were on tour, and he said, how do you like the tour? And I said, I hate it. I'm having a horrible time. He said, oh my gosh, why? I said, well, we get up, we play, and then you get up on there stage, and all my friends get to see where I stole my licks from. And he said, don't say steal, say borrow. And he explained that if you just take from one source, it's plagiarism. If you take from more than one, it's research. And he explained all the people that he listened to. And he said, oftentimes I'm credited for inventing things that I didn't, but people just heard me do it first. Again, a very humble guy. But, he explained Blind Lemon Jefferson and T-Bone Walker and, Lonnie Johnson. And if you go back and you listen to those records, you can hear the pieces that, but, he was the architect of his own sound. And, I think with music, especially in roots music, the thing I love about it is there is this idea of lineage, and it's like every generation takes it down another mile down the road, and then, you hand the baton, and then, the next generation takes it over. And that's a really beautiful thing if you look at that in those terms.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Sorry for the long answer.
That was great. That was very nice. Thank you for saying all that personal information. You stated that there's never been a more exciting time for music. What do you think of AI creating new music and virtual bands with emotion and soul?
There's two schools of thought with AI. There's one school of thought that says this is the end, it's the worst thing, it's horrible. And there's another school that says, well, this could inspire new possibilities. And I think both point of views are absolutely accurate. I think if you use AI as a tool and it doesn't use you, then it's fine. I haven't used AI yet. I'm, a little slow on the technology side of things, but I would be open to see what a possibility would be.
To try it out.
To see, as long as it doesn't take over my creativity and my vision. But also we have to be aware that our humanity is very important, and that has to be preserved. I think AI eventually will create exciting music that we will hum, and we will think, wow, that's a really great, that's kind of catchy, like a commercial for cat food or dog food, like a song you wouldn't like maybe, but the melody gets stuck in your head, just by the sheer amount of permutations it can spit out. But what it can't do is play like a human being. And I think that it's going to refocus artists back into philosophy more like the 70s and 60s, where perfection isn't the key. For a long time, perfection was the key because it was unattainable, and it was this goal. Let's try to be as perfect as possible, knowing full well you couldn't be. But maybe now you can, and maybe that's not such a great thing. It's an exciting and scary time that we live in.
I fully agree. You've reworked older material to feel fresh. How do you feel when you revisit past songs?
Well, you never finish a song. You abandon it when you're in it's sort of like, and I look at songs as living, breathing things. And a studio recording is you capturing that song on that day. But maybe 6 months later, you have a different vision for it, or a year later. It's almost like a child that grows up. It's okay to get a haircut, or or change the clothes. Like your kid is growing into something living and breathing. And with a song, I feel that way. So tonight we're trying something we have a song called Bluesified, and it was more, we're playing it way faster. It was a straight groove. Now we're shuffling it, so I hope people like it, but for us it's sort of like, there's got to be a reason for people to come to see you play. You're not just a jukebox of your songs that you're playing. There's got to be a moment, and in particular too, I think an emotional moment that you connect with your audience. Hey, we're all here together. Isn't this freaking cool? We're all alive now in this moment in the same place. And I think it's a beautiful perspective.
Would you recommend your album Peace, Love, and Loud Guitars for newcomers to discover your signature soulful style?
I'm the worst person to ask this question because I'm such a perfectionist.
Should ask the cameraman.
Yeah. What's that? They should buy all of them? Oh, okay.
That's already sold out.
Yeah, Peace, Love, and Loud Guitars would be a wonderful place to start. Our new album is very strong and has received a lot of accolades, praise the loud. So, but wherever on the journey people want to open the door, I'm just grateful that they're listening to our music, and at the same time still striving to feel like the best is yet to come. We still haven't got there yet. I like that energy and that feeling.
Live, you open shows with high energy smashes. Has Praise the Loud changed the way you construct your set lists?
No, we just have more songs to choose from, which is a burden. It's an embarrassment of riches, right? So now, and you have to. I like bands that if they're making relevant music, that when I go see them on that tour is special. That they play 3, 4, 5, 6 songs off their new record. Then I can hear 10 or 12 of the stuff that is part of their legacy, if you will. Not everybody agrees with that. They just want the hits, but or the most popular songs. But to me, I like to feel like, again, there's a reason to go see that band on that tour, you know. I saw Judas Priest 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, and I really liked the show. And then they came out with an album, Invincible Shield, and I loved the album. I thought it was their best work in 25 years. And I went to the show so energized, and they played 3 songs, and I was excited. I was like, play 5.
Do it all.
Yeah, and play it all. And I enjoyed that show much more so than the previous one. And they were just as good, but there was some freshness and excitement to being there and watching that show that was a reminder that, you know, we should strive to do that too.
And this is your 3rd year in a row in Brezoi. How have you seen things change since the first time you were here?
Well, I got to give the festival a lot of credit, because every year it gets better. Every year there's a conscious attempt to outdo the previous year, and not by a small margin. You know, like, let's blow away what we did last year. Let's blow it up and start again and make it even crazier and bigger. And I think that that's fabulous, and we love coming here because of that, you know, and it inspires us. Like, literally, we use this festival as a benchmark. Okay, when we come back next year, let's make sure our show is better than the year before. Let's make, you know, and
this is your Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, exactly. It is international, yeah.
Thank you very much for your kind words and great stories. You're a very educated guy.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Good luck with the music. And we're waiting for you to come on down to the Open Air Blues Festival in Brezoi. There's 1 day left, so hurry.
Yeah, or make your reservations for next year. Truth, this festival is amazing. So if you can get here, you will have the time of your life, and you will meet 10 of your best friends that you never knew you had. So there you go.
Maybe your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Future ex-wife.